The Bible says, be not deceived. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
All right, it's 4 p.m. on Wall Street. Do you know where your money is?
How much should I invest?
I really looking for some direction.
Should I hold on to my house as an investment for my future?
What should we do to have money that we're putting aside?
Welcome to Financial Issues, where we align reality with truth. Conservative talk radio you can count on. Financial issues that you need to know.
We face a disintegrating economy, a weakened defense, and an energy policy based on the sharing of scarcity. We will simply apply to government the common sense that we all use in our daily lives.
Now, here's your host, Dan Celia.
Welcome back, American Family Radio, Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. It's great to be here. Well, we've got a little bit of economic news. Primarily, it's all about the budget. You're going to be hearing a lot about the budget, I would assume, today. It's all but passed. It still has to go through Congress. The House of Representatives still has to go through the Senate. But according to Senator Pat Murray and Representative Paul Ryan, it's a good plan. Well, it's a good plan, I guess, on a number of fronts. It's a good plan because Republicans get to not lose any more approval rating by shutting down the government. So they have an opportunity now to not have to worry about standing up for what is right for America. Isn't that a beautiful thing? They get to just kind of hunker down in their fetal position and not worry about anything and not have to worry about losing any approval ratings. It's a beautiful thing because we've got elections coming up in November, just a year away, in the House of Representatives. So that's a good thing. Democrats are happy because they're getting another $65 billion worth of spending spree. That's a beautiful thing. They get to do that right away. But Paul Ryan says, don't worry. Don't worry. We're cutting. We're making cuts. Here's what we're cutting. We're cutting $23 billion. I'm speaking off the top of my head now, so I hope I have all the numbers right. We're cutting $23 billion out of the budget. Wait a minute. Over 10 years. As if that's going to happen. Because that means they've got lots of time to shoot it down for the next 9 years. So the chances of that happening are slim to none. But aside from that, we get an immediate $65 billion worth of spending increases. Now, the part I do like, when I get rid of all this sarcasm, the part that I do like is that we're saving some of the cuts out of the defense. I like that. I'm all for that. I think that's good. So I have to give them kudos for that because that's a good deal. So I'm glad they're doing that. But that's out of the Department of Defense. Our military men and women are going to, well, they're not going to suffer immediately, but they will suffer when they can least afford to suffer. And that would be when they're much older. Because what's happening as part of this deal is the way they calculate, you know how the government loves to, fix calculations. Their COLA, their cost of living increases, and the way they calculate that is changing. So that change is going to create a savings because they're not going to be getting as much money over the next 20 years or so because this new way of calculating reduces the amount of increase that they will receive, thereby saving billions of dollars. So we're restoring some money back to the defense budget while the men and women that lay their blood on the line so that I can get on the air and say whatever I want. And so the Washington, D.C. can continue to be as dysfunctional as they want and all their liberties being protected, they're going to suffer. So here's what Congress loves to do. They love to put things on the back of America. Now, we have a revenue stream along with this. The revenue stream, because the Republicans are boasting about not seeing any tax increases because they've changed the word of tax increases to the word fees. It's a wonderful thing. You know, it's amazing how you can get what you want simply by changing a word. So they're getting increased in revenues by adding fees. Again, increase in revenues on the backs of the American people. Now, Paul Ryan is doing a wonderful job articulating and justifying all of this. And by the way, when he comes up for re-election in November in Wisconsin, I'm sure he'll get re-elected. But should he be? No, I don't think he should be. I don't think he should be re-elected because this is all on him. Him and Patty Murray, the senator. It's on him and her, and he may try to justify it and try to run and hide from some of the facts. But the fact of the matter is, we have shifted some more spending to be on the backs of you and I, on the backs of our military, and we don't even know half the deal. One of the other good things, one of the good things, is that there is a cooperation. I haven't read all the information on this coming out of the Energy Commission, but apparently now the U.S. and Mexico are going to come together to promote and actually put into place some more offshore drilling off the shores of Mexico. And, that's a good thing, as North America will become a powerhouse in energy in the not too distant future. So, I could go on and talk about the budgets, as I probably should. I had some clips here from Paul Ryan and Patty Murray, but the fact of the matter is we're cutting $82 billion, beautiful thing. We're putting back in $65 billion of immediate spending. We're saving $23 billion. So I would like it if the $65 billion in spending were spread out over 10 years as well. But no. That's immediate. Just the $23 billion. Now, here's the funny part. By the way, 866-300-9298. Here's the funny part. If we were to dare talk about a mere $23 billion in reference to anything in the government, senators and congressmen would say, oh, it's $23 billion. We've got a much bigger issue than that. $23 billion is not even something we should be concerned about. It's, 1/10 of the budget, or on and on and on. They would go on and on. But now it's a really big deal. $23 billion now in cuts is huge. Congressman Ryan, this seems to have missed so many people on Capitol Hill. We've got somewhere between 85 and 100 trillion, probably closer to $100 trillion of unfunded liabilities in this country, growing every week. We have over soon to have $17.3 trillion in debt right now. The United States of America is headed for fiscal disaster. And we don't want to shut the government down to do what's right for future generations because I might lose a vote or lose popularity. We're not going to do that. We're going off a fiscal cliff. We're headed towards bankruptcy. This is unsustainable. But we're going to give another $65 billion, another $65 billion to spend immediately. Are we out of our minds? Yes, we are. This is insanity. All the while, let's put it on the back of American people by way of fees. Hey, let's raise the gasoline tax. All those things are going to be happening because we need revenues. And nobody's talking about the revenues that creating jobs brings in to the coffers of the Treasury Department. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. How do you do that? We can't do that. We can't do that because if we do that, we got to embrace capitalism. We're not going to do that. So I'm not real excited, if you haven't noticed, about the budget deal. I'm not thrilled with it. I'm not thrilled with Paul Ryan. They feel, here's the rationale, by the way, 866-300-9298, if you want to call in. They feel, here's the rationale, they feel that they've accomplished a great thing. Because here's the deal. Here's some of the rationale that we're going to hear coming out of the so-called Republican strategists that all should be fired. I wouldn't let them strategize my way through the supermarket. But they're, the Republican strategists, the talking points coming out is we maintain the focus on Obamacare. All right, that's a good thing. If we were to lose focus on Obamacare, it would be in their hands anyway for taking the focus off of that. But we maintain the focus, and that's a good thing for the political party because ultimately everything they do is about the political party. The other thing is we avoid a shutdown, and that's not good. Now, they can't say, they probably wish they could, the Republicans, can't say, well, we made a mistake shutting down the government before because it really hurt the economy. Well, there's no facts to back that up, so they can't say that. But they do know this. They went down in the polls as a result of the government shutdown. So they have... they don't have to shut the government down. They keep the focus on Obamacare. They get a budget for the first time in 3 years without a continued resolution. By the way, I do like that part of it as well. At least we get a budget for as worthless and trivial and smoke and mirrors that it is. At least we have a budget. It's if you can call it a budget, at least we have a budget. But it is just, this is a political win-win. That's what this is. This is a political win-win. It's a win for the Democrats because they get increase in spending and increases in revenues that they don't have to say are tax increases. They're just different fees that nobody's even going to notice, so they think. So they get a win. Republicans get a win because they're not the bad guys shutting down the government, because they don't have the competency or any abilities whatsoever to counter the argument that the government shutdown was negative. They can't stand firmly on that, firm enough to not affect their ratings. Because ultimately, this is about maintaining the popularity of the party so they hope to get reelected. And it's also about keeping the focus on Obamacare, which helps their popularity and helps them get reelected. This problem with the fiscal disaster that is going to affect future generations does not have to be on them right now. They can wait until after the 2014 elections. And then it's going to be, we better wait until we win the White House in 2016. And then we'll address that. But once we win the White House in 2016, it's going to be to make sure that we get the White House again in 2020 so that we can really do something. So we better not do too much to lose popularity through the 2016-2020 cycle, because we need to get reelected again, and on and on and on it goes. Not nobody. Ted Cruz stood up yesterday during a speech from Cuba's Castro and walked out. Oh, well, that's good. Who followed him? I guess they all got, did they get up? No, Ted Cruz. You got it. You can say what you want about him, but to walk out on a Castro speech at a memorial service for Nelson Mandela takes guts and a man that's standing on his convictions. And you can say what you want, but you got to love it. 866-300-9298, 866-300-9298. If you want to weigh in, give us a call, 866-300-9298. Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. We'll be right back.